a.m. Thank you very much, and Commissioners, I believe that you received the minutes. We should approve those at this point in time. Willie motion to approve the minutes. Bruce seconds the motion. Any comment, questions, changes? If there be none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
3. Thank you very much. And at this point in time, I usually ask the audience to help us with the word of prayer or maybe a moment of silence before we start our meeting. So do I have anybody that's willing to volunteer us with a good word of prayer? If there be none, I will call upon one of my commissioners. Either one of you would like to do that?
I'll do it.
Thank you, Bruce.
Father in heaven, as we come before thee as a county commission in San Juan County, Utah this day, we ask thee to bless us. That the things that we will consider today will be in accordance with the mind and will of our public. We ask thee to bless those who work for the county that might be in harm's way, that they'll be safe and protected. We're grateful for the moisture that's come to our land. We ask thee to protect and be with our citizens, that they will be able to benefit from this wonderful resource of moisture. We're grateful for all the blessings we receive at thy hand, and say this in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Amen. And the next item would be the citizens' comment. Do we have any comments this
We
morning?
got one from Hank Stevens.
Oh, Hank Stevens. Hank, are you?
He's
Yeah.
downstairs with economic development.
Oh, he's visiting with the economic development. Chris.
You can just read what he's put there. I think it's pretty generic. Or I can.
Ilan.
Roberto Nonazo.
Request application for CDBG senior citizen. Continued support of downtown community economic and
Oh, there he
road
is.
development.
Now, hold you, Nelly.
Oh,
Good morning, Commissioners. Commissioner Adams, Mayor Boy, Mr. Bayes, audience, Hank Stevens from North Mountain Chapter. And I just got a couple items here. And I think one, Matt kind of filled me in on the CDBG funding that we requested at the last commission meeting. So I guess we'll continue to maybe reach out for other resources and see if we can make their senior center more accommodating for elderlies. But on the second note, we do have that notice on an Ojeto road that's actually being planned right now, and I think we're looking forward to a meeting with President Nez on that, the road development, and hopefully his office will give us a call and set us a date to where we can actually discuss what our plans and what our options are. I know that the 7th County Infrastructure Commission or Coalition Committee are very well interested in it, and also the Governor's Office and also the Department of Public Safety. So I would like to encourage the commissioners to continue their support for that road development, because it'll open doors to tourism development within San Juan County, and also all the way south or actually west into St. George, Utah. So if that road were to be developed, so something that we're really thinking on, and hopefully we can get the road built within the next 5 years or something. On the other hand, is we have an old trading post and an old school that we might be able to rehabilitate with historic preservation funding maybe from the state, and also we would like to get a convenience store in place also to accommodate the construction work that's going to actually be going on the road in the future. So with that, commissioners, just asking for your support again this year, 2020. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nada. We will consider those requests. Okay, I guess that's the last of the citizens' comment. Now we go down to item number 3. Item number 3 would be ordinances adopting the 220 annual commission meeting schedule. Who would be the appropriate person to, Mac?
I can go over this.
Okay.
So every year, it's required that we approve the schedule for that following year of all of the commission meetings and the dates, times, and places for those. So what you have here is an ordinance adopting the regular scheduled county meetings and meeting locations for the 2020 annual meeting schedule pursuant to section 52-4-202 of the Utah Code. Public notice is hereby given that during the year 2020, the annual schedule of the Board of San Juan County Commissioners will be as follows. And it just sticks with our regular routine schedule here, where we have first Tuesdays of each month, we have commission meetings, work session beginning at 9, commission meeting beginning at 11. And then on the third Tuesdays, same times. On the fifth Tuesday, there will be no regular scheduled meetings. In this ordinance, we've also planned on having 5 special meetings as permitted. The special meetings, we have those dates and locations on here, so we're anticipating January 21st having a special meeting in Navajo Mountain Chapter House. March 17th, a special meeting in Mexican Water Chapter House. On May 19th, having a meeting in Spanish Valley. This one's yet to be determined which location. July 21st, we'll have a meeting, a special meeting in Aneth Chapter House. Then September 15th, I have that meeting being held Mexican Hat, Alcheda area. We'll work on finding a location there for that meeting. But those are kind of the dates and times. As those locations become a little bit more concrete throughout the year, we'll do a public notice for those meetings and the exact locations, but those are the areas that will be having those special meetings throughout the year.
Okay. Well, thank you. Do you want us to act on that, or do you want us to review the schedule, or what would you like us to do?
This one on here is I just need a motion either approving or not approving that meeting schedule, and then the locations. We'll work on the exact addressing and everything later on.
For an adoption, okay. Do I have a motion for an adoption of the recommended?
I'll make a motion. I have a question though.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Second.
do have comment also.
Open for discussion.
So
Go
the
ahead,
special
Bruce.
meetings say they start at 11, so we don't have a work meeting that day? Or
No, to me, it was, I thought through this, it doesn't make sense to have a work session unless you're really anticipating all of our staff to attend there and have the work session there. And so we'll try to get you the information previous to the commission meetings that are there, the special meetings that are there, and try to get it to where it's more administrative functions. And so it'll be me. We've got a policy coming up, a purchasing policy that we'd like to discuss there at Navajo Mountain. Things that are more of administrative items that would take place, but nothing really necessarily for a work session. We didn't want to have a bunch of staff following around having a work session before. This would be something that if we can get the chapters participation in the meetings, kind of coordinate efforts with them as well, so that they can take the opportunity to have those meetings with you in those sessions, but yet not have a big long super on 2 meetings at each location. So that's why we've done that.
Yeah, my comments would be insertion here if possible. All other meetings I'll mention will be at the Monticello.
All other meetings are up in
Yeah.
Monticello, correct. And it
Yeah.
states that up above. So
Yeah.
all meetings in Monticello unless noted in here
Yeah.
as the special meetings.
Okay. That's about it. Other than that, it's simple.
If anything, we can remodify the schedule.
Correct.
If need to, anywhere, I believe that we can still have a work session if it
Yes.
needs to for a regular meeting at the office, the Monticello. And I still have a hard time believing that anything can be done out of the scope of Monticello. That's only me, so I'm sure that we'll come across some avenues here pretty soon. Okay, well, all those in favor in accepting and also the adopting of the new schedule for the 2020? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the next item on the agenda is commissioners. You're aware that we've heard from Tammy. Item 4, 5, and 6, hazardous material emergency. The grant that she deals with, it's been offered again, and we do have that. And the other one is to contact the amendment on aging, waiving budgets. She filled us in on that and letter to thank the Salt Lake County Aging and Adult Services. So these 3 items that came before us, I believe that we just need to ratify that to where I would like to have an motion to recognize all 3 of them or one at a time. That's at your leisure, commissioners.
So move.
Move on accepting all 3 of them.
Yes.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Adams. Okay. Any questions, comment, addition to this? There being none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay. The next item would be the number 7, Grand Water Service District. Mac, could you guide us through that one?
This one here is just passing. You have a approval for this following year's board members for the Grand County Water Conservation or Conservancy District. They've recommended, as they've gone through 4 applications, 3 of them, Brian Buckus, Jerry McNeely, and Preston Paxman, for your approval for reappointment to that board. And as Jerry McNeely had kind of commented, in addition, with his comments earlier, that now that we do have the sewer and water connections in Spanish Valley, it's really important that we're coordinating our efforts with Grand County, and this is the mechanism and form to do so through that Grand Water and Sewer Service Agency. And so you have the recommendations of names on here, but more importantly, you have Brian Backus, who represents San Juan County in this as well. And so these names are here for your approval.
Motion by Commissioner Gray Eyes. Do I have a second? Second
Second.
by Commissioner Adams. Thank you very much. Any comment, question? There be none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, Mac. Down to the next item. John?
One case of beer
Okay,
from each.
to get it approved, huh?
How many licenses are we approving?
Condition.
So, we have 9 licenses so far that have submitted applications, their bonds, and paid the fee for 2020 license renewals. There are 4 from previous years past that fall within the city boundaries of Bluff, and so they no longer need to gain a license through the county. That is something that Bluff will handle.
Is there one from Sunrise?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Do you want me to name them off? Say
Yes.
Okay. So we have two from Airmark, Halls Crossing Store, Halls Crossing Marina, the LaSalle store, up in LaSalle, 7-Eleven down in Mexican Hat, Sunrise store in Montezuma Creek, San Juan Trading Post in Mexican Hat, the Juan Inc. in Mexican Hat, Shirt Tail Service south of Blanding, and Valley's Trading Post in Mexican Hat.
The item for Sunrise is going to be on the chapter's agenda,
Okay.
and they asked me to not to support that due to the establishment is too close to the school, and some students are getting out of hand,
Okay.
and there's more trouble going on in Montezuma Creek, so I will probably abstain for this if we're going to be approving it today. But if the resolution says that they're going to be opposing the renewal of that, and I will probably take that position.
Okay.
So just to let you know.
Does
Okay.
the establishment violate the law by being too close to the school or something?
I don't know. The Sheriff Torgerson, he's sent him an email asking him if he was okay with them, and he wasn't.
I've never
passed,
heard that it violates the law by being too close to a school or a church or anything.
Right.
If it's not too close to a school or a church, can we deny the application?
I don't have all of the details in front of this, so the answer is the reasons for denial are very specific.
Yeah.
And so I
Mm-hmm.
don't have any information in front of me right now that tells me whether or not anybody's in violation, and without that information, I couldn't give you a good answer.
This is an application that we've renewed
For years.
for at least 20 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So if they were in violation of the law, we'd certainly known that by now. I would make a motion, we approve all of the applications as presented.
Okay.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then I will call for a motion. Do I have a motion, Mr. Adams? Would you,
I make
Mr.
the
Mose?
motion.
Would you like to second that? I'm gonna abstain this. So.
Yes,
go ahead.
second with the inquiry, I guess, would be more appropriate in terms of violation.
Okay.
I know it's located close by, about probably a mile.
Something like that, yeah.
I think that
That's
the law
600
talks
feet.
about less than 200 feet.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's like a
So-
600 feet. I
If,
think.
if I may, if there's a concern, you can always ask law enforcement to just check.
Okay.
So you can approve the license, because obviously if somebody's found to be in violation of their license, their license would then be revoked at
Right.
that time. So you can approve the licenses and then ask law enforcement to check, to make sure that they're in compliance with distance requirements and.
Let's do
I guess that's gonna be in your ballpark,
Yes.
for the next, meeting. Have, something, readily available to where I can make a sound decision on that. And right now, with the resolution that's gonna be in place from the chapter, I will probably, not support that. But other than that, I would support all of them except for that.
Okay.
I think incident reports would be needed to be sought to from parents, school administrators, staff.
And the DABC,
Yeah.
is the state agency in charge of regulating this, and so that's who, you can also make an inquiry through the DABC.
Right.
And the kid says that the beer's too warm over there. Okay, well, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
2 in favor, and I will probably
Okay,
abstain.
sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, number 9, Commissioner's assignment.
Okay, Commissioners, in your packet, you have the commission assignments as of 2019, that I believe were approved last year. We're looking where it's a new year. If you want to keep those same commission assignments, we can do so. There's one that's missing on here, just so you're aware that we do need representation. That's the Utah Association of Counties Board of Directors. There's a position there that isn't listed on here. I believe Bruce in the past has been that. So I just need to know if you're keeping the same commission assignments or if there's changes that you commissioners want to make amongst yourselves. It's a discussion that you can have now. Just looking for direction from you, whether or not you approve what we had before you or the changes needed to be made.
Okay, thank you, Mac. Commissioners, I believe that we have defined, developed schedule that we have before us. Some of us, meaning me, a lot of these meetings that I've pretty much missed out. And Commissioner Adams, thank you very much for being a part of the county at all these functions. And I know that Mr. Gray Eyes has been diligently to stay on the road to make some of these meetings. And I think from here on, I will be able to accommodate some of these meetings if we decide to keep the schedule as is. And it's up to you commissioners. Would you like to make a motion to keep the schedule as is, or after you make a motion, we can modify the schedule if need to? So I'd like to have a motion in place.
I'll make a motion that we approve the commission assignments for 2020 the same as we had for 2019.
Okay.
Concur. Second.
Okay, second by Commissioner Gray Eyes. And before we make a vote, Mr. McDonald, I guess we would like to recognize the schedule as is, as before in 2019, and continue on with it into the 2020. So with that, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Do you
We
want to
have a
make an
schedule.
assignment to the UAC Board of Directors for a 1-year assignment, one of the commissioners? We don't have that on our list, but we have a request from UAC to appoint, there is one commissioner from each commission throughout the state that is now going to sit on the board of directors of UAC. Most of those meetings will be in Salt Lake. Well, all of them will virtually. But they'd like to have that in place before the legislative session starts, because they're going to have a meeting and consider what is being proposed in the legislature.
Okay, Commissioner Adams requested that the group that he's referring to be acknowledged onto the schedule. We just barely made a vote, but I think we can still consider that. Does it have to be one, or can it be two?
One.
One.
They
Has
just
to be
want
one.
person.
Just one person.
And you've been doing that for...
No, I have never done it.
Is it, I misunderstood that. I thought that they've had this position in the past here
No.
as well. Okay.
This is a new way that they make up the UAC board,
Okay.
because when they had it before, there was people that were at large,
Are you
and
able
then
to
some
do-
of the large counties got 2
I bet you could
positions.
get me.
They're trying to make one position for each county now.
Okay.
This is a brand new way to make up the UAC board this year.
All right.
I'd like to go ahead and recommend Mr. Adams He's closer to Salt Lake City than we are.
I'll second that motion. So would you be willing
That's my
to
excuse.
take that on?
Sure,
You have one other.
since I'm closer.
Okay. Well, Commissioner Adams feels that
Association of Counties.
he can function with all the items that he has on his schedule and assignment. So he's been recommended, and I second the motion to have him serve on that particular group. So with that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations, sir.
Oh, I'm just happy to have that responsibility.
I knew you
He's
would
so
like that.
excited about it.
Closer.
I would like to encourage Kenneth, you and or Willie to try and be a little more involved in the Canyon Country Partnership this year. It's a chance to meet with state officials from all of the agencies. It's a really important group to coordinate what the county's doing with those agencies, and I know both of you have that assignment, and Willie's been a few times, I think, haven't you, Willie?
No, I was invited, but I never made
But
it.
you've
up
never
there.
made it to one of me. It's a really good group of people to be associated with, and I think both of you'd enjoy your experience there if there's any way you can make those meetings. And
Can you-
once a year, I think San Juan County hosts the meeting.
We do
In San Juan
hideout, we'll
County,
have
yeah.
it in August. It's
Mhm.
gonna be located there at the hideout.
Well,
Is
Put us-
that on here?
no, it's not on
You're-
here. We're just
It's assigned to you,
we're
Yeah.
but not the agenda. I'll get
county,
Okay.
yeah,
Canyon
Okay.
Country
Canyon
Partner,
County Partnership, yeah.
CCP.
Okay.
Well,
Mac, will you let them know that they give them these guys' email address so they can let them know?
Yeah,
in
so
those meetings?
they've had it in
Okay.
the past 2 meetings that they've held, and I think they're quarterly.
Okay.
We've had conflicts in
Okay.
kind of all of our schedules. I attended one, and then we had Nick attend one when all three of or all 4 of us were out with other meetings, and so they do have the schedule. I'll get that. I'll send that email to you, and I think you should have it from last meeting's minutes from the CCP.
okay.
They always serve you a nice lunch too.
They don't,
I think if you requested it,
I'll bet you would if you requested it. That is a negotiation we pay into.
Willie
as
likes
well
to
as
have a
sponsor.
leg of lamb over a meeting.
Yeah.
All right, well, we got that. All you need to do is insert those
Yep, I'll get
items
it.
onto the
And I'll
list
send it
and
out
give
to you.
us, give it to us as soon as possible. So that takes care of item number 9, Commissioner's Report. Either one of you would like to start? If not, I will start. Right now, as you know, that I'm as appointed to the Navajo Utah Commission Chairman, and some things that needs to be reported back to the nation of what the responsibility and duties of the Navajo Utah Commission is. When Navajo Utah Commission was born, it was under Title II of the Navajo Nation Council. Navajo Nation Council, under that Title II, requires the elected individuals to lobby on the reservation, off the reservation, meaning as far as DC. That's the title. So when the reduction of council took place, the officials at the chapter kind of just took over. So the chapter official is under Title 25. There's not a whole lot you can do, but being an official just nearby the chapters. So a lot of things are happening. Like for instance, right now the trust fund negotiation is coming up, and there's other concerns and development going on the reservation, and it seems like the Navajo Utah Commission just kind of just waits around for the chapters to develop something and have them jump on it. And they're supposed to be spearheading all of this. So it makes it hard. The chapters are starting to push to dissolve the Navajo Utah Commission and use the money for some sort of a negotiation team or something for the San Juan County Utah Navajos. So as a chairman in that commission, I'm kind of caught between a hard surface and a rocky spot. So Friday we're going to be having a refocus. We're going to bring the Navajo Utah Commission and say that, okay, this is where we're supposed to be, but we're here. How do we bring this back to here and have a better responsibility and have more accountability on what needs to happen? So we're talking about that. Number one issue, of course, it's the trust fund. And then the other one is the NRF. It's really agitating when your folks is asking for a home, and we've been sitting on that. And it takes a board to take an action. But yet, Tony can take a position and does otherwise, even though an action has taken place. There's a lot of places where, like Islas Bus Anat and Mexican Water down to Ojeto, people, they applied for homes and they were getting ready. But Tony says, no, we can't do these because he or she is not a resident. Either that or cut the budget low. And if the board, in the real world, if the board takes a position, then that's it, that's final. But in this case, they don't know. And when I brought this up, I asked the Harja and also Tony's office, we need to come together. Let's have a joint meeting because this is getting more ridiculous every time we come to a meeting. Tony has a set of rules, and then you have a set of rules. But yet we're not using the trust fund, only the NRF. But the governor gives Tony authority to hire PEP, which is public employment, and to do whatever they want. But the chapter is struggling with their PEP. But when the chapter says, oh, Tony, we need to use some of your group, can we maybe fix a door or something like that? And Tony says, no. These are the group of people that's working for me. The trust fund is being paid for every employee that Tony hires, even their insurance. And then we had to pay for the state vehicle to run around and out there to serve these people. And then at the same time, we pay for the insurance and maintenances on those vehicles. But yet, we don't have an excess of using these. So now the Navajo Utah Commission is in a position to say, hey, you're supposed to be lobbying on behalf of the legislators from the Navajo Nation. Why is this happening? When are we going to fix these deficiencies? So that's coming up Friday. We're going to be doing that. And other than that, the main topic is the roads. People are still concerning about roads, and I understand that Steve Peterson donated himself to go out. Steve Pearson, to go take a couple of medias for drive on the dirt road, which is fine. But for me and the young lady that's sitting at the door will be taken off tomorrow at 10 o'clock to Mexican Water to look at the roads, take some pictures, and develop some news saying that the Navajo Nation is still dragging its feet in the county. We're trying to push as much as we can to make sure that these roads are fixed. And I understand that the snow's coming in, and I know that the bus is not gonna be running. So those are the things that we're faced with, and I'll be busy running around out there, doing all of that again. So, any other further development, I guess I'll keep in touch with, Mac and the both of you. And ever since they went through Grandma, I don't know about your phone, but my phone was locked up for about a month and a half, and we just barely reactivated again. So, with that, that
So
will...
that's what happened with Jerry's phone, is that, because you won't answer your phone and neither will Jerry.
Well,
Are you on the same lockup?
we must be,
The twins.
yeah.
Twins.
Well, we like fast cars,
Hey,
that's...
let me ask you a question, Kenneth. I know that in the past, the process has been this. There's an allocation of money given to each chapter for housing. And then there's Navajo Trust Fund, which can be a match for whatever the chapter allocates for an individual to build a house. And there's some of the chapters that are sitting on hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars and have been for a long time and not spending that money. And that was frustrating to me as a member of the NRF. Has that improved at all? Is the chapter allocating funds for people to build homes and asking for a match from the trust fund so that those homes will have adequate money and can be built?
It,
The thing about it is the tribal dollars have what they call condition of appropriation. And those condition of appropriation spells out that these dollars for housing or for maintenance and repair, that's all. Not to appropriate or match funding to build the total structure of a home. So that's the conditions that we face. And that's a restriction. We can, if allowed, I guess we can go ahead and pursue a lobbying to change those so we can have access, because that's the bottleneck, yeah.
Well, Willie, that money all comes from oil money from the Aneth oil field or from the extension and comes to the state of Utah to be managed by the trust fund and NRF.
Yeah,
Those are monies that come
yeah.
off of the oil field that are managed by the state of Utah, not the Navajo Nation. So I thought that the chapter could go after matching money with the trust fund to actually build a house.
once it comes to be a part of the chapter, it becomes restricted under the federal codes.
Yeah.
So
The
that's
other
the
thing
problem.
is
And
they're calling us double dipping when we go that direction.
so that's the problem. And Tony knows, he's been working with the Navajo Housing Authority for many years, and he should understand that. The other problem is, we have all these money that we appropriate to people. Okay, you can have a home, we'll
Yeah.
build it for you. But we failed to say that, okay, here's the extra cost that's supposed to take care of your home site lease, which is gonna be your art clearance.
Right.
We don't include that, and the chapter is running around trying to look for other fundings to pay for it, and it overlaps. And we're gonna try to ask Hinkins to see if he can include that into a package instead of having the others take care of these, so that way all of these deficiencies can start moving.
Well, I know there's a lot of money sitting in bank accounts, and there's a lot of people that need places to live.
Yep.
And somehow that's gotta be resolved so that
That's-
that money can benefit the people, the Navajo people on the reservation.
So we're hoping that Hinkins and the rest of the group, maybe Phil, can look into that and make sure that we have a separate account or something, somehow, something needs to work. Because once the chapter, once the funding gets into the chapter,
Yeah.
then the federal code kicks
Okay.
in. So that makes it hard for everybody else. So that's one of the big problems. So anyway,
Okay.
that's what we're.
Okay.
Yeah, the la-
Danahal na try.
Well, I'm waiting on communication with Mr. Christopher Bahi from the Office of the President and Vice President of the Navajo Nation for a meeting on proposed access route to between Ojeto and Navajo Mountain. That's what I'm waiting for. The other thing is I'd like to see what we can do, Mr. Mayorboy and myself, as to when maybe Mr. McDonald also to inquire about the joint meeting with the INDOT on the IGA. We need to schedule a meeting, some kind of
Yes. To
horizontal
finalize that.
ceremony to execute those agreements
It's a
to
ceremony.
begin road maintenance. That they indicated it was going to be this month,
So
January. So
yes, they've indicated January. We've reached out to so they pushed the scheduling to the meeting to their public relations, NDOT public relations. And then I also sent an email out to Garrett to ask him for a meeting as well. So there's two avenues that we're pushing
Yeah.
for the meeting, and so we've requested it. It's just a matter of them responding.
So I think based on that, with the road conditions, the soils are wet and ready to be moved and packed and so forth. So
It's time.
a good condition
Yeah.
to work on those projects. The other thing, what is it? Tomorrow I have a 5 to 8 gathering at Kienta. You're invited too.
What's going on?
It's a secret.
But he's
You have to
invited.
get there
It's a
in order
secret,
to
but
find
he's
it.
invited.
Yeah. Then what you indicated, the refocus meeting of the Utah Navajo chapter officials on projects. So that will be scheduled myself to attend that. Mexican Water, I believe it is. I don't
Mhm.
know what time.
We're waiting for the rest of the chapter to respond. And so far, Red Mesa and Tison's bunch backed out. They have other important commitments.
Okay. And 17th, I have 7 county meeting in Price at 10 a.m. And 18th, the following day, I have to be back into Navajo Mountain, North Sound chapter meeting, 10 a.m. too. So, I wish they had a bridge across Lee's Ferry and then to Navajo Mountain. That'd be
easier.
Tomorrow.
And then we have 21st meeting at Navajo Mountain Commission meeting, 21st.
Tomorrow I'm going to be on the road with the
And
with the news reporter.
22nd, I have club's special meeting. Yeah, Nassau Community Land Use Plan Committee, and then 23rd we have in Wonder Rock for school matters, grad school meetings there. 29th I have a meeting at Navajo Mountain, Mr. Stephen also, Natalie Randalls, and hopefully economic executive director for the Navajo Economic Development, J.T. Willie, will be there. And hoping to discuss the, what did they call it, enterprise zone?
Opportunity
Something,
zone.
opportunity zone, that type of projects that we have up our sleeves, so. Then the 30th, we have another CLOPSI meeting, and that's about it. We'll see you in February. Valentine, huh?
Yeah, Valentine.
I don't have much to report. The CIB meeting was canceled in January. And so I guess the only thing I've got going coming up this month is the beginning of the legislature, the last week of January. And I plan to be up there a couple of days for meetings. And that's about all I've got.
Yeah. What are some of the new proposed legislation changes? So we can saddle up the donkey and plan to be there for.
Absolutely. So what we'll do is once well, typically what you see is UAC will begin providing a list of all the bills that are coming out of the active committees. As those bills are introduced on that list, I'll send you the list so that you'll start to see those that are coming out of those committees. I've also made sure that staff is also aware of the department heads to be watching for specific bills that affect them in their associated departments, and if there are any issues or concerns that they have, to communicate those forward to us so that we can get that information to you as well. And so once those start coming out, you'll see frequent emails from us highlighting certain bills or certain issues, certain concerns, or favorite bills that we like, so that you're fully aware of those and those meetings that they'll be having. So those haven't come out yet, but once they do, you'll be fully engaged in that.
Okay.
That's all I have. I'd make a motion, we adjourn the commission meeting.
Second, I guess
You're in charge.
all those in favor say aye.
He's already adjourned.
So be it.
It is that.
We have completed our meeting,
It's all done.
11:51.
Just to let you both know, I contacted Sheriff Anderson about